Reina is on his way out of the Bundesliga. Here's someone who's coming back to the Bundesliga. Josh Sargent on his way in, close to joining Wolfsburg here, a deal worth north of $20 million, a source told ESPN. We just talked about a 22-year-old. We're talking about a 25-year-old. Speaking of injuries too, Shaq, we know that he's trying to find that consistency as well. It seemed that he found it on his way back with Norwich City. He totaled 46 goals in 124 league matches, and we know that he's been very consistent, at least in the last few months that we saw him. But we didn't see him in the Gold Cup. What do you expect from this move from Josh Sargent here to Wolfsburg?
It's a different ask for Sargent and Wolfsburg. First of all, Wolfsburg, mid-table in the Bundesliga, looking for that out-and-out striker. I think, for me, some of the frustrations around Josh Sargent is at times, and again, kind of like Girena shows these flashes. I still wonder if he's a clinical enough finisher, because while we're talking about numbers for Norwich City, they are good numbers without being great numbers, more largely in the Championship in English football. Now he's a step up into the Bundesliga, a league that he knows well. And granted, he left 4 years ago. He's 21 years old. That's a big ask for somebody that young to make any kind of a significant impact. And now he's more experienced, he knows his game better, and is coming into a team that I think are able to rotate around him, play a number of different formations. So it helps him grow his game. Josh Sargent, though, to be a success at Wolfsburg, I think has got to be a more clinical finisher than we've seen at Norwich. He does that, I think he has an impact.
I think it's a great move going back to the Bundesliga, a league that he knows very well. Josh Sargent's player development, or his development, his upbringing was club soccer in the United States. And after a U17 World Cup, jumped to the Bundesliga and had that type of, awakening. And from there, he was purchased to the Premier League. And he did not do well in the Premier League. But in not doing well in the Premier League, he found time to be humbled in the correct way. Not that he was arrogant or anything, but it'll humble you when you get relegated. Did the right things going forward to be the man at Norwich. In the last few seasons, he's been one of their best players, if not their best, clearly their best goal scorer that they've had. And he scored all types of goals in a league that I think is very difficult, that maybe people don't give it the credit it deserves. And while he could be more clinical at times, he's added so much to that arsenal. He is deceivingly big. He's 6'1", good size on him. He's got nimble feet. He combines very well. He's an honest worker. He could finish with the right, finish with the left, with his head. But for whatever reason, when the national team comes calling, he doesn't make the trip. He's injured. He gets sick. Whatever the case may be. He's played like 5 games over the last, I don't even know how many years. And when he comes to the national team, he gets injured. And when he gets on the field, things don't go his way. He needs something if he wants a repeat of being the starting forward like he was in Qatar. If he wants another chance at a World Cup to be a prominent player. I see the tools there. And I see an open field, Jack. Yeah. If you think of the 9 position, there is nobody right now that has their hand raised that says, I'm healthy, I'm scoring goals, this position's mine, and it's going to stay mine. So it's a league that he knows. In a mid-table team, yes. But a situation where I think he's matured and grown from, heading into something that he's more accustomed to, it could be a good situation for him. But regardless of how many goals he scores in the Bundesliga, there's still that, now turn it on to the national team. That's going to be the big factor for Josh Sargent.
Here's the thing with Sargent for me, and I agree with you fully. At times he just feels like a far more accomplished striker than certainly his numbers suggest. And that's the thing. You see Josh Sargent play, you think the world of him, but then you look at his numbers, albeit, and the majority of which are in the Championship, they aren't great. And as a result, you just wonder if there's something missing there. Now, to your point, he goes to Wolfsburg, new manager in Simonis. So, blank slate, new manager coming in at the club that finished mid-table. You are signed under this new manager. You are you're in as good a position as you would hope, certainly in terms of starting. So it's a significant opportunity for him in playing at Wolfsburg. Yes, a league that he knows. New manager, you're brought in. Josh Sargent has got to take this opportunity, has got to tidy up the aspects of his game, at the very least have better numbers about who he is, and have that confidence translate to US men's national team performances and selections. Because, again, why Josh Sargent why his numbers aren't, at least appearance numbers, aren't better for the US men's national team is simply beyond me. And again, has you questioning, what are we missing in Josh Sargent?
No, I agree 100% on the appearance numbers of the U.S. men's national team. You know why I don't feel too crazy, like it doesn't matter to me, his numbers when it comes to Norwich and what he did there? Because for the first couple of years, he was playing as a winger. You know, Pokey was the 9 there. He was the goal scorer there. So you got young guy pushed to the side. You're gonna have to work, earn your place, and he did. And I've seen the growth there. I'm more worried. You're right about what he's gonna do with the national team, because you will find no bigger defender in the U.S. men's national team pool of pundits than myself for Josh Sargent. But I feel like at times I'm making excuses to why he's not living up to his potential
5 goals in 28
on the U.S.
appearances.
men's
It's not
national
great.
team.
Yeah.
What was you got to? Forget the
your
goals.
job.
Forget
Yeah.
the goals. The appearances.
Right.
The appearances.
28.
You've been playing for 5 years. It's always something. He comes into the camps and he ends up leaving. He comes into the camps. He plays a little, and you can go back to the Nations League. You're like, Josh Sargent, this is your chance. And against Panama, scores a goal, gets called back, hits the post. But you're not going to see that on the box score. You're just going to see Josh Sargent, big old 0. Didn't show up. And that's been the situation with Josh Sargent, where there are other players, and people may say what they want about Patrick Agiman. Well, it's the talent, it's the level, it's who he played against. They're going to say the same thing about Jesus Ferreira. But as a 9, as a goal scorer, that's the only thing you can do to defend yourself.
Right.